Welcome to the Sydney Cricket Ground, round 6. The Tigers up against the Swans. The Tigers 1-5, the Sydney Swans 2-3. Both teams hoping to stay in contention for the finals this year. Richmond coming off their first win of the season last week. That was up against North Melbourne, of course. And maybe that's broken the drought. We will see a more competitive Richmond for the rest of the season. Up against the Sydney Swans, who've been erratic, gentlemen. Loss, win, loss so far this season for the Swans. Let's have a look at the Tigers lineup first.
Yeah, they'll be very pleased to see a young forward in Rewald played very well, kicking the 3 goals last week. Matthew Richardson has come up with that the glute strain last week. Played a lot of the game, but was in some sort of doubt going into today's game. But he's fit and well. Moore and McGuan down back with big jobs.
As we see the Swans run out, and look for Richo playing around the wing too, Lynchy. Last year it was Lewis Roberts-Thompson allowed Richo to roam far and wide. Lewis Roberts-Thompson stayed back and defended his goals.
See Brett Kirk just going out, and
well, this is a celebration for his 200th, essentially, because last week he played his 200th, but it wasn't a home game, so he gets to burst through the banner with his children. A couple of teammates celebrating milestones as well. Darren Jolly, game 150, of course, started his career at Melbourne, but the other one being Reece Shaw, who's playing his 100th game, 94 of them at Collingwood, as one last kiss from the captain, Kirk.
Yeah,
and the girls are crying. They didn't enjoy that kiss at all.
Well, they don't want to leave Dad.
Fair enough too. Lee Colbert's downstairs. Welcome, Lee.
Plenty of soul searching done this week, and by all reports a few team meetings, but Kirky's 200 last week wasn't the best night out for him.
Yeah, a bit disappointing, but we knew Freo were under siege, and with all due respects to them, I mean, they're not a bad team. I mean, they won again yesterday. I think everyone's played down their performances this year, so we knew it was going to be tough, but it was a bit disappointing. We didn't fly the flag a bit better for Kirky.
The forward line has been bolstered this week. Hawley and O'Loughlin back in the side will certainly help with your structure.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us a really different look down there. Obviously, Hawley and Mick complement each other. Very different players and very experienced players. I think Jared Moore coming back in is pretty significant for us as well.
Terry Wallace thinks the game will be decided in the first 30 minutes. You have the same opinion?
Well, if we're in front of the 30-minute mark and he wants to call it off, I'm happy to do that. If we're behind, we're going to keep on playing, though.
Put the white flag up. All right, mate. Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate.
Paul Roos in a good mood, as always, really. Let's have a look at the Swans lineup.
Roberts-Thompson, as you said, Spud, may have the Matthew Richardson match-up. Grundy's been good down back. Reece Shaw, as you touched on, has got his 100 game up for both Collingwood and the Sydney Swans. And through the midfield, Goods, Kirk, Buchanan, very strong line with O'Loughlin and Hall going forward. So a very potent forward line. Jolly in the ruck with McVeigh, and there is Mickey O'Loughlin, just 3 goals away from his 500th, and he is a massive inclusion. Hasn't played a game this year and missed the last part of last year with that ankle ligament injury that he sustained, and had an injury. And big bad Barry Hall, a 3-time All-Australian, another massive inclusion. They just really struggled up forward for direction, but those 2 inclusions will straighten them up.
See Hall and O'Loughlin both in shot, virtually playing from the goal square. And Richardson, as the guy said, starting up forward at centre-half forward. We're underway in this round 6 encounter. Well, Graham went up and missed it completely against Jolly. Kirk dumped. Tuck gets the initial clearance. Bouncing ball. Hunted down by Nahas. Handballs to his own advantage. Tucked up against the boundary. Tackled by probably one of the best tacklers in the game, Bevan. And Bevan wins the free. Rugby background, knows how to tackle, as we know. Nahas just found that out. Short to Martin Matner. To the open side. Craig Bolton has got Reece Shaw in game 100. 94 of those with Collingwood, of course. Game 100 today for Reece Shaw. And now Lewis Roberts-Thompson. Shortish kick. Tough one to mark. Tuck. Handball smothered. Good get. More. Jude Bolton. Quick to Kirk. Wobbles it towards goal and misses. Behind.
It would have been a great start for Sydney and Brett Kirk. We heard Paul Roos before the game talking about they let the players down in his milestone game, 200 last week.
Craig Bolton has the Matthew Richardson match-up at this early stage.
Richardson to McMahon to Revolt, coming off the best game of his career last week, and the most important game perhaps. 18 possessions and 14 marks in that first win of the season for the Tigers. This is Tambling. Inboard to Richo, who was called out of it well in the end by Chris Newman.
Both sides just assessing what's going on at the moment, not taking the game on, just looking for a free teammate.
Long bomb, and Goods floats back into it, takes the mark.
Well, his direct opponent's Daniel Jackson. He has to get in a dangerous situation there. I know Jackson's tagging Goods, but don't allow Goods to flow back like that.
Buchanan. O'Keefe. Numbers have been down a bit this year, Ryan O'Keefe, in comparison to his outstanding numbers in recent seasons. And Michael O'Loughlin, first game back for the year, takes the mark.
Well, the beauty of having O'Loughlin back in the team, it makes Joel Bowden play on an opponent. If O'Loughlin wasn't there, Bowden would be a free wheeler off the half-back line.
Back to Shaw, not sure they gamed anything there, although the sidestep, runs to 50, loads up with a launch. Oh boy, did they gain something there. So Eamon Buchanan, who can be a little iffy in front of goal. Eamon, an appropriate name to have, because he does miss a few, and he misses this one. And Hallmark's on the line. Good set play. Handballs it off. Little sidestep to Moore, and he kicks the goal. Well played, the Swans. Got it from Matner. Gave to Jack. That's a 4-metre kick. Buchanan. Roberts Thompson. Nahas caught him. Dispossessed. Richards. Oh, he didn't know Revolt was coming. Revolt crept up on him.
Richo's on his own.
Took the little steps, and Richo, 50 from
And
goal.
Chamberlain with a quick one forward.
Oh, he's taken on Shaw. Run around him. Important kick this. Could set the tone. Oh, and doesn't it ring truly, that tone. Richo goal. Needs to hit a target from 60. Bombs it long, hoping for Graham. Pack flies. Off hands. Good collect. Little kick around the body for Collins. He's kicked the goal.
Magnificent crumb there.
15 plays 13.
Great tap.
It was sensational to Kirk. Inside 50 to O'Loughlin. That was out of the copybook.
Clearance football. They're the number one clearance team in the competition. And when you win a centre clearance as easy as that out of the middle, great tap from Mike Pike down to Kirk. Just champagne football. Have a look at the tap. Kirk, no sweeper there for the Tigers, which was disappointing. But then the forwards, when they know it's coming out of the middle, that's a great bit of play. Just
needs O'Loughlin to finish here. First game of the year and first goal of the year for Michael O'Loughlin. Ball held up, got hands to it, couldn't complete the mark. Little 1-2, Morton and Rance. Polo, tough ball together. Tambling, beaten for it by Matner. Hands off Buchanan. He's got a free man in the pocket and dropped by Kristen Thornton. Makes amends, hands to Jack. He kicks a bender and he's followed it. Can you believe that? Kieran Jack, a miracle goal. Richmond scored more than they scored in the opening half last time they were here. Only met once last year, it was here. And Sydney won by 82 points and it was 13 goals to 1 at half time of that match. But gee, they look good at the moment. Sydney McVeigh, awesome. They look exceptional at the moment. The kick not so good and stolen by Polo. Tambling now to the open side. He looks, there's no one there. Forced to go to Nahas, missed him. Shaw took the mark, ran back, ducked into the hole.
Good courage.
And now they're away here. Kristen Thornton from 50. He can load up, kicks from the paint, and that's a gem. Kicks his third of the year in game 3.
It's 20.
Alcheski, Roberts Thompson. Alcheski loaded Goods, who had the leap. Had 3 to beat as well. Bowden gets it from White. Low trajectory kick as well to Oakley Nichols, and he gets a chance to kick the goal that others couldn't.
Well, all of a sudden, they're finding targets inside 50. They're still long-range shots, but they're in the first quarter, they didn't have a mark inside 50. Now, at this early stage in the second term, they've had 4.
And now what has to happen is the Swans half-back line have to play hip on hip. Early on, they're sagging off looking for the long, high ball.
He's never kicked a goal, Jared Oakley Nichols. This is game number 11. Can he kick his first? He does. And the Tigers, hallelujah. O'Keefe, slick to Kirk. Brett Meredith has looked good, started on the bench, slips the handball forward. Grundy waltzes in, 45 out. Like peeling grapes. Important clearance this, and the Swans win it. Grundy to Hall. And Barry Hall's got it 40 directly out. We'll see if he can slot his first. with this kick. 2 behinds and an out of play on the full. And he feeds it off instead, unselfishly, but cleverly to Meredith. And Brett Meredith about to have possession number 8. He's also having a good day at the office. They're on the ropes right now, the Tigers, unfortunately. 1-5 start to the season. And never in doubt that from the boot of Brett Meredith. 8 goals from 8 different goal scorers. McGuan to Bowden. Good kick. Tamling does need to finish inside 2 minutes to half-time. Lead stands at 33 points. Needs to cut it back to 27 and give Richmond some hope at the long change.
He's worked hard, Richard Tamley. I've enjoyed his game today.
Yeah, quite a second term, very good early.
Massive kick for everyone's confidence, and he slots it. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Welcome to modern football.
Is that what it is?
Well, yesterday wasn't the case. We had two forwards kicking 8 also. It's just the way this game's evolving, I think.
That was a good old-fashioned game, though, that one, Hawthorn and Carlton. As Mike Pike, the jump, couldn't mark it.
Did well to get the hands out, Pike.
Yep, Moore. Sure had the hands out, but it slipped straight through them. Foley. Big minute coming up here. Meredith, just off the bench, swoops, kicks. O'Loughlin.
Still got his
Here's
speed.
the hands, runs around. Brilliant. Great to have you back, Mickey O. 15 seconds to half-time. Time enough for a Richmond score, but maybe not enough for a Swan score from this clearance. Important takeaway for Jackson. Needs to be marked. Full forward, high ball. Roberts Thompson gives the free away. Free kick to Angus Graham.
Terry Walsh has pushed him forward. Important kick in the context of the game, just for their self-belief.
Well, big kick for Angus Graham. He's never kicked an AFL goal. This is game number 7. We saw Jared Oakley-Nichols kick his first of his career earlier on in this term. Over to you, Angus.
Appeared the free kick, just that left arm from Lewis Roberts-Thompson over the shoulder.
To cut the margin back to 27 at the long break. Little skip, the dance in, the drop punt, the goal. First of his career, and Richmond can go in at half-time with some hope. Bright sunshine here at the Sydney Cricket Ground. Round 6, the Tigers coming off a victory last week, hoping to keep this run alive. They're down by 27, and the Swans lead 9-7-61 to the Tigers. 5-4-34. Hall and McGuan. And the ball up, McVeigh tracks it down. Delidio bumped him off it. Foley to Delidio, and now Rance takes off. Difficult kick to gather. Nahas makes it good. Looks up, thinks goal square, loads up from the 50. It sails. Richo sees it sail over his head. Great goal. Swans.
Well, it's the Tigers have got all the momentum at the moment. They're holding up the Swans beautifully out of their defensive 50.
Buchanan. Lewis Roberts-Thompson. Thumps a long ball. O'Keefe, good use of the body. And spots Hall, hits his chest. That is perfection.
That is outstanding play. It was a beautiful kick to O'Keefe. Just kicked it to his advantage. Used his body on young Rance O'Keefe, and then knew that Hall. There's a kick from Coughlin and the free kick there from Richardson. Yeah, definitely over the shoulder.
That was a class act. Just an All-Australian forward against a youngster. Used his body, but then finished the job. Lace out to the leading forward.
Talked about Richo with the milestone of 800. Barry Hall, 600 on the horizon, and he nails his first for the game, his 589th. Patterson. Now Richo's in the square. He's ignored Nahas. Well, he's just kicked one from 50 at this end. And he pops that over the top. Nice kick. And Collins kicked one in the opening term.
Yeah, good work from Collins, just to keep working forward. Ran into some space.
It's actually McGuan too, boys, not Polo.
Big kick this. We've played 11 minutes third term. Cut it back to 22. Collins, like an arrow. They're not done with the Tigers. Collins, they may have messed this up. Tuck to the pocket, and Morton's marked that
Just
on the
inside.
line. It was
Tambling's
inside, and his shorts to Tambling. It's been a strange minute.
They're trying to turn the ball over, Richmond, you'd say, but some good work to get it out to Tambling. They have a shot on goal from about 25 metres out.
One thing they're doing, they're pulling the trigger quickly
Oh, they
with
are.
their disposals. Any free target they're hitting up, which I think is a good thing against Sydney.
Cut it back to 16. It drifts a little, but they are back, the Tigers. Bolton to Shaw. Barry Hall needs to make amends. Good fist Bowden. Thumps it down. Buchanan looks up. Kieran Jack. Goal square.
I'll take a bow, Ryan O'Keefe. Outstanding play. Richmond would have been having a shot on goal. He elected to expose his ribs to Graham. Takes a magnificent mark on the half-back line. Now Bird's got a shot on goal, so well done, Ryan O'Keefe.
Yeah, he's pretty sore as well, just gingerly walking back through the middle of the ground.
Takes a deep breath. They push it back to 22 points. Never in doubt. But it's still game on. Hands. 22 points the margin. Again, the load up long, almost Polo. Couldn't bring the mark down. O'Keefe, who's been good again today. Matner takes on Tambling. Good move. Kristen Thornton. He was the free man. Needs to hit Jolly and does. Splendid pass. 15 metres away. Now Chesky in the hole. Get in there, Newman.
Too much space, too much air, on that kick from Jolly to Malcheski.
The back six for the Swans are under siege. They're standing up at this stage, but continual forward 50 entries putting them under pressure.
Daniel Jackson with a spear to Graham.
This is good play from Terry Wallace. Good coaching also. Putting Graham down there doesn't allow Lewis Roberts-Thompson, who's had the 23 disposals, got him anchored to the goal square with Bolton and Richardson. So going tall in the forward lines really helped Richmond get some good quality one-on-ones. That was a very good kick from Jackson.
Angus Graham kicked the first goal of his career earlier in this game. See the numbers. He knows the importance of this. 27 minutes gone on the scoreboard. From the 50, nice off the boot. Perfect. He's got two. And the Tigers can see the line. Swans coming off a horror loss and a trip to Subiaco from the ball in. Coughlin, important kick around the body there.
Well done.
It's back to 9 points. Bounce in the bright sunshine here. The chant of Sydney rings around the SCG, but it's not convincing. Grundy steals it, gives to Adam Goods, crunched, dumped through the legs of Tuck, shoots a handball to Graham, tried to find Jackson, big collision, spearing past Delidio, back of the pack, Morton, barely seen him all day, Revolt, unbelievable tackle.
Marty Matner.
Outstanding.
We've seen both teams
And 50.
do that. That's fantastic chase, commitment.
I'm not sure whether it's going to be a match-winning tackle, but that's one of the greatest tackles you will ever see. You just see the handball.
He turned him.
Oh, gee, that's a good tackle. You're right, could have just ran into him and pushed him in the back, but turned his hips also.
Well, that would have levelled everything up. It could very well be the match-winning save.
Things like that change momentum, and the Tigers certainly had it. Swans have the ball, long kick, O'Loughlin caught behind. Wrap up by O'Loughlin, gives the free away.
Yeah, he was just out of position and tried to remove his direct opponent.
More.
But also understand that O'Loughlin hasn't played senior AFL football for a long time.
Bowden to Collins. One-on-one's ahead of him.
Hasn't got a lot to go to.
Needs to pick a one-on-one and goes to the boundary. Is that deliberate?
Well, I don't think it was deliberate because it come off his shin.
No, it was good umpiring in the end. No, it was well called, Lynchy.
Jeez.
No, his intent was to hit a teammate.
Maybe he's just clever.
No, it just wasn't a
Well
great kick line.
disguised.
Yeah. Just a look away, kick off the shin. Shaw takes them on. Runs to 50, outside of the foot. More!
Oh, that's a good grab under pressure. That is a genuine contested mark.
Very hard to spoil too. It was just dipping at the last minute, but he still had to mark the ball. Newman, you just see the ball dipping. It's a very good mark. Not a lot Newman could do there.
It's kick one. This to stretch the margin to 2 goals, as Terry Wallace knows. Every possession vital now, and he spears it through the middle. They lead by 12.
We all got excited with the Matna tackle, and that's the result. Instead of the scores being level, that tackle now has put some breathing space between Sydney and Richmond. And you can see Reece Shaw just taking the game on here. Somehow got it on his right foot into that area. Very good mark from Moore. Not a lot Newman could do, but I'm sure if Sydney win this game of football, the first thing on the tape tomorrow will be the tackle from Marty Matna. Would that have been deliberate if it went through for a point then, Dwayne?
Well, the umpire would say he didn't do it deliberately. Bevan. Heads wide. Grundy with the jump. Well read.
Well weighted kick too.
Good man in the mark from Bowden.
Just had to wait to get over Joel Bowden.
He's got O'Loughlin one-on-one on the square. Just lost his boot, unfortunately.
Short. And a good pass. We saw Brett Meredith kick a goal earlier on in the game to this end, so he knows how they're sitting down that end. Big kick this for 3 goals for the lead.
He's a thumping kick.
It's a good sign when 3 of the forwards just pointed to the goals. They know he's got the journey.
The stretcher to 18, gives it some sky and sends it home. Terry Wallace can still see a pot of gold. Do they fight this one out? Ball up. Need the clearance. Kieran Jack tried to tow it. Shaw wrapped up, dumped, good tackle. White dispossessed. Revolt
Good hand.
and a good grab. Well, he did it last week. Best game and most important game of his career. 14 marks and more importantly 3 goals too last week to Jack Revolt. As we tick inside 9 minutes.
Right on and on the sides too.
Golden opportunity to give the Tigers some hope. And this one's not done yet. O'Keefe, Buchanan, Kirk for a little bit of icing. A wobbler. O'Loughlin skipped through, left it behind. He's been a little rusty. Moore, McGuan, trapped by Moore. Gathers, caught, Goods, shrugs, spins it around to Barry Hall. Well, Barry Hall said during the week that his boxing name, when he turns to that profession, will be Lights Out.
Lights Out Hall.
So it might be lights out for Richmond with the last kick of the game for Big Baz.
He's only had the 10 disposals for the game, but he's worked very hard. A lot of unrewarded running. See, Adam Goods has had some very important possessions in this second half as well.
Siren sounds, and it's lights out. The Swans by 19.
Fantastic game of football. Sydney Swans started beautifully in the first quarter. It's probably what got them over in the end, Lynchy. Well, the Tigers were brave in defeat, but Sydney on their home ground needed to bounce back after their disappointing loss last week against Fremantle. But they were probably the better side over 4 quarters. It's great to see Hall, O'Loughlin get into the play.